Good evening. My name's George Hattingh and welcome to my home. It's going to be a wonderful hour spent with you. I've got some of my dedicated staff keeping an eye on the YouTube chat, and they will send me a message if there is a specific question that I should be addressing. But I'm going to spend a little bit of time with you this evening. For those of you that know nothing about Academy of Sound Engineering, I'll give you a little bit of a history, a little bit of details. Those of you that already have been doing your research, you might just need a little bit more information. And for those of you that might already be students and just want to know what 2021 is going to hold, or graduates and you're curious about what we're doing now, there'll be a little bit of all of that for you. As you can see, the setting is festive. So if you're watching this not in December, at some point in the future, we aren't insane. There's not always a Christmas tree. But today's the 15th of December, and there's definitely a Christmas tree up in my house. And we're looking forward to celebrating with family, even though there are restrictions and everything that comes with the COVID pandemic, but within reason, we look forward to celebrating with friends and family over the festive season. So, you'll forgive me every now and again, saying there's an audio echo. That shouldn't be an issue, but Nitesh, just let me know if there is, if it gets out of hand, but we should be okay for now. So I'll get some questions, and obviously those of you that completed the form to get access to this Q&A session beforehand, you had an opportunity to submit some questions, and I want to go through those questions. I've read them, and they're a great starting point for me to get started and talk you through what to look forward to for 2021. Right, so the audio is sorted. Thanks, Nitesh. Thanks for that. All right, so let's get started with why am I doing this? Why are you looking at me today? And what is the information that you're needing? Let's go back to March, when the whole world changed. Well, in South Africa, it was March. Other parts of the country is a little bit earlier than that, and other parts of the world a little bit later. But in March, lockdown hit us, and nothing has been the same. And quite frankly, nothing will be the same ever again. And what sets Academy of Sound Engineering apart, generally, one of the main things is our facilities, our equipment, the software and equipment and studios that our students have access to. And generally at our Johannesburg campus, they had access to those facilities 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Multi-million rands worth of facilities and studios, and overnight that disappeared. Along with pretty much any other educational institution, we had to come up with a way to continue training our students, to continue showing them or giving them access rather to our curriculum, and to teach them. Some of our first years had hardly even been on campus. They had only started at the beginning of March, and then all of a sudden it was gone. So immediately we embarked on trying to find a way to engage with our students online. And within a few days, we started rolling out some content. We were having multiple meetings, trying to figure out what's the best way to engage with our students. How do we still teach them when what we teach is so practical? And what's the future going to hold? And what can we do really well right now? All of these questions were flying around. So some of the learning units that were more obvious, we climbed into straight away. People like Ricky, who teaches marketing, and myself and Peter, who teach music appreciation, and a few other learning units that could be taught quite well in this sort of format, we jumped straight in and we started creating content. And before long, we settled on a methodology that really, really works. So let me explain to you what that methodology is. And I teach my subject. My subject is music appreciation, so it's always wise to speak from a point of knowledge. I know my subject, so I'm going to talk about my subject. And so music appreciation is appreciating music, listening to music, looking at genres, analyzing genres and the history of those genres, looking at instruments, how they work, why they make the sound that they make. And it's really fun, but normally quite interactive. We sit in a classroom, there's a nice big sound system, and we listen to music and we talk about music. It's quite conversational. And all of a sudden that classroom environment disappeared, but I had to keep teaching, Peter and I. So we settled on a methodology where we would take the content that would normally be delivered in 50 minutes or a normal one lesson, and we pre-produced a YouTube video. So in 20 minutes, we would just cover all of the concepts of that lesson, and then we would send that to our students. They'd have a day or two or a week or however long. It was a little bit flying by the seam at certain points, but they'd have some time to look through that content and also look at all the reference material that we had associated with that content. And then later on in the week, we'd schedule a tutorial. Now that would be live. It would be this sort of environment, but very interactive. We do it in Google Hangouts, and the students would ask questions. We do a register in the comment section, and what we're talking about is the content that they just had an opportunity to engage with a few days earlier. So they've digested the content. It's not just been thrown at them and now they must immediately ask questions. They've been able to digest it a little bit, and now we're talking about it for an hour. So they have more time than they previously would have had. And we finished, the learning unit is for first year and second year, and we finished those two learning units, and we did the assessments. And we did the assessments online, and that was a technical masterpiece, thanks to people like Dylan and Gaston and Gray and Devon for teaching the likes of me how to set up OBS into Zoom with a virtual camera and a virtual sound card linking the microphone and sending original sound so that the sound that they heard wherever they were, whether it be on their phone or on their laptop or whatever in their rooms, was actually the same as the sound that I'm hearing here from my laptop, not some sort of room sound. And we did the assessments, and I tell you what, the academic results were amazing. Across the board, there was about a 20% jump in the average for our learning unit, and other subjects showed similar results. And we knew at that point we were onto something. We waited a little while because we were still in April, May. People were still not allowed to go onto campus, and then the restrictions started to drop, and the government allowed us to invite some students back onto campus. And we knew now that they need to focus on the practical stuff, the stuff that requires them to put their hands on pieces of equipment and learn. Work in Pro Tools, work on the equipment, work in studio, and gain that experience. So we realized that we had gone about the delivery of the program differently, but we were achieving quite a lot of the same outcomes. And then when we look at the scheduling of a normal week, where you've got some practical, some theory, in a normal week, a normal face-to-face week, let's look at 2019, the previous normal, a normal week where you jump from class to class, and some classes are practical and some classes are theory. Those practical hours add up, but because you're doing them quite frequently, it sort of feels like it's almost all the time, and it's not. There's a lot of theory in between there as well. However, in this, when we then invited the students onto campus, eventually when we were allowed to, they were on campus for a week or two at a time, and all they were doing was practical. from the morning to the afternoon, working in productions, working in labs, sitting with lecturers. We were having to repeat a lot of the content because now we only allowed small groups because of the restrictions. And while all of this was happening, there was a brain in Cape Town that was working overtime, Mr. Keith Farquharson. And if this was an academic paper, I would be crediting him at this point. Keith is one of our directors, and he's the principal of our Cape Town campus. And Keith had this mental image of a phoenix rising from the ashes. And for a lot of people, 2020 sort of was ashes. People's businesses ended, people lost their jobs. It's still happening. I'm talking as if it's over. It's not over. But we saw an opportunity, and those of you that have been watching the stream since the start will have seen the phrase there, the digital advantage. We saw an opportunity to really make the most of that digital advantage, to look at what we do, how we do it, and repackage it in a way that suits you, the student, suits how you now engage with your world. And I'm smiling because, normally educational institutions are not things that evolve very quickly. You're looking at accreditation and all of these bodies that look at your qualifications that you offer, etc. And when something happens and you have to adapt, sometimes that's frustrating because you can't move very quickly. The thing is, you've been ready. And by you, I mean our current students, our prospective students, those who are going to join us in the near future. All that's happened here is we've caught up to you. You've been working like this already. You've been living in a digital environment. You've been living in a world where you need instant access and instant gratification. And the old traditional way of engaging with higher education doesn't really suit you. I mean, you've not had a choice because that's just how it was. But does it have to stay like that? And that's where Keith started thinking, how can we do this? And how can we find a compromise and give these students both? Give them the practical, get their hands on the equipment, teach them how to use technology, teach them how to work in studio, work on music production, work in radio broadcast, work on the music and voice and sound effects for video. And also do that in a way that suits their lifestyle, suits the way that we have all become accustomed to now in 2020. And let's not fool ourselves, that's not changing. Just because on the 1st of January it's no longer 2020 doesn't mean that the way in which we live and the way in which we engage with our world all of a sudden goes back to normal. That's not going to happen for a very long time. And certain things, like education, will never be the same again. So we evolved. And Keith and our managing director, Tim, got together. They worked on new curriculum, updating the methodology and the delivery. So the same qualifications, the same accreditation, the same reputation in the industry that comes with an Academy of Sound Engineering qualification, but delivered to you in a way that is more convenient. So there's a couple of things that I'm going to do during this hour, which is now 44 minutes. And I want to give those of you that haven't had the opportunity to come to campus and actually see what the Johannesburg campus looks like, see what the Cape Town campus looks like. I want to give you an opportunity to see that. So I've got some virtual open day videos that I want to show you. That's going to use up about 10 minutes of our time. I also want to explain to you how the hybrid qualifications work, and I've got some literature here that I'm going to share with you, which really helps in visualizing, helping you visualize how it's going to be put together and how it's different. And then there's obviously some questions as well. So let me quickly glance down here. Nitesh or Amor, if you guys have got questions there in the stream, please will you send them through to me. And what I'm going to do is quickly go to the questions that had been submitted in advance, so we can have a look at those. All right. So I hope everyone's doing well, and that wherever you are, the weather is nice, and you have some loved ones around you, and even though the times are difficult, that you can find some time to relax soon. It's really important. We've had one hell of a year, and we need to find an opportunity to switch off. If we don't switch off, 2021 is going to hit us in the face, and we will have not taken a breath, and we won't be ready for it. All right, so let's look at these questions. Okay, here they are. Right, so I've got a whole bunch of questions that have been submitted. One person was very keen and filled the form in 5 times with a very long question. So very eager, so let's start there. Some of the questions aren't specifically related to the hybrid learning, so I'll gloss over them, because I've got my moderators that are having a look at the chat. And so Nitesh and Amo and you guys, the first question here is actually about part-time. And it's interesting, I'd say it's not relevant to hybrid, but actually it is. We used to have a program called the 12-week part-time, the Fundamental Audio Technology 12-week part-time course, and it included a music business masterclass, the part 1 of the music business masterclass. And this person is asking, what are the payment terms? When is it running? How is it affected by COVID? All of the questions that you would expect. And I'm going to ask you to just hang on and wait for me to go through the hybrid delivery for you, because you're going to be very, very interested and very intrigued by how what we used to refer to as skills programs or part-time courses, how they now slot into our hybrid delivery, and how they therefore work towards a full-time qualification so much more seamlessly. So that information is there, and the guys will share it with you, and they'll put some links in the chat so that you can give us your information or go straight to the content. But wait until, which will happen next, wait until I share about the hybrid content, and you'll see how that works. There's another question here again, are you able to accommodate part-time students who are working full-time? Again, the hybrid method or the hybrid delivery gives you that flexibility, and we'll go into that in a moment. Also, someone misunderstood the form and asked me about connecting a talkback microphone for a music director without going through monitor speakers or PA system, going straight to earphones for people who are on stage. I don't know. I'm not a sound engineer. I'm a musician and a marketer, and I'm on that side of the microphone. There are people that are very, very, very skilled and knowledgeable that will be able to teach you that, or show you that, or just send us a message on Facebook, DM us there, and we'll see if we can quickly understand what your specific needs are, and if we can help you. But that's not happening today. Will the BSc in sound engineering technology be offered via hybrid method? This person says that they've studied sound engineering or sound technology at another institution in the past, and will they be able to, the word is articulate, so change over from that qualification or enter this BSc, having done what they've done in the past. So very much so. The BSc and all of our qualifications will have to adapt to some online and some in-person practical physical training. The ones that we're launching today are the higher certificate and the diploma, and you can imagine the work that goes into developing these new methodologies is immense. So the BSc being a smaller cohort of students does mean that we have more flexibility. Gordon is an absolute champion. Gordon Craig is the program manager for the Bachelor of Science degree in Sound Engineering Technology. And he has done remarkable things with his students this year through a lot of trials and tribulations because of the lockdown. And I have a lot of faith in him going forward as well. So the short answer is yes, we have to evolve, and it's a smaller market. It's got quite high entrance requirements. Someone like yourself that's done a qualification in science technology before wouldn't necessarily be worried about the entrance requirements, but someone coming from a trick might struggle a little bit, depending on what matric subjects you did. It needs maths, that's 60%, for example, so a lot of people go via the higher certificate or via the diploma and end up in the BSc. But we'll host. I actually want to host a session with Gordon, a session like this with Gordon in the not too distant future, maybe early in January, where we talk specifically about the BSc and how it differs from our other qualifications, and then we can dig deeper into the hybrid methodology as well when we're speaking specifically about the BSc. Do we have part-time classes in Cape Town? Well, yes, the hybrid offerings are at all of our campuses. So depending on where you are, you would have your contact sessions at the Johannesburg campus or the Cape Town campus, and that would be the campus that's closer to you, and that's the one you're enrolling at. But your online stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are. Someone else also asked, are applications for 2021 open? Yes, very much so. Amo, Nitesh, you guys, I'm sure you've already posted it there. I'm not actually looking at the YouTube live stream. So the apply now section of our website is somewhere where you can go give us your details, tell us what you're interested in, and one of our student advisors will get back to you and walk you through that process. So those are the questions that were submitted in advance, and before I carry on with the next step, okay, so I'm going to jump into the actual hybrid delivery, and that's us over here. So let's have a look. Right, so let's have a look here. This is our PDF brochure that you can get from one of the student advisors, and you go fill in the details that they've shared with you there on the chat, and you'll get this PDF. This is our hybrid handbook, and it gives you a little bit of an overview of what it is that we'll be offering, and the index there talks you through what's in the actual handbook. It's a lovely put together document. John does some amazing work in Cape Town. I can't stop raving about him. I love his design work. But this is really where it starts getting very, very interesting. So I'm going to spend quite a lot of time on this slide, and I hope you can all see it. If one of my guys can just let me know if it is too small, I can adjust the size, but you guys can also zoom in or whatnot. So what you're looking at here is a traditional 1-year higher certificate, if you look at the top left of the PDF, or part 1 of a 3-year diploma. Now, when I say part 1, this is what we would have in the past referred to as year 1, so your first year of studies. And you can see that the higher certificate, which is a 1-year qualification, has 4 modules in it, and so does part 1 of the 3-year diploma. So if we shift our attention to the right-hand side of the PDF, we can see how it works. So whether you're enrolling into the higher certificate in audio technology or the diploma in audio technology, you start off with the same content. You start off doing module 1, which is called Audio Fundamentals and Song Creation, and it's 8 weeks long. And this one is totally online. And you might go, hang on, what do you mean totally online? I want to get onto campus. Wait a second, you'll understand, you'll see the bigger picture. And module 1 really goes into the creation of songs, audio fundamentals. You look at core audio, introduction to DAW, which is Pro Tools, but we're also looking at things like Ableton and Logic, digital audio theory, music theory and practice, computer skills, the introduction to the music business. It's really interesting. Those are all of the learning units that are in Module 1. And you're doing those online, and you're doing those for 8 weeks. The wonderful thing with Module 1 is just how tremendously versatile it is. Think about this for a moment. In South Africa especially, there are a lot of barriers to higher education. There's a lot of people that, for whatever reasons, weren't able to achieve marks at school to gain them access into higher education. And some people finished school, went straight into work, never got an opportunity to go and study, and dropping out of, stopping to work and then going and studying. It's not really an option for a lot of people, even if finances aren't an issue. So Module 1 has no entrance requirements. You have started a formal qualification, but you don't need to have any matric. You just need to be 16 years old at least, and you need to have access to the equipment that we're going to talk about in a moment. And for 8 weeks you study online. I've already spoken you through how incredible the experience has been this year, and how the students have resonated with it, how the students have responded with excellent academic results to learning online. And we're building a foundation. It's online in that you attend your classes online, but the work you do is very much practical. And I want to take a moment here also to just say that when I say online, please don't think about these colleges that you see on Facebook and wherever that offer you this online and that online, and it's free or it's cheap or whatever. This isn't that. This is a hybrid delivery model that gets you the same, if not more, practical hands-on experience in studio and with equipment than the regular methodology in the past. But it also gives you the freedom to access content and to learn and grow at your own pace. So that's why it's hybrid. It's not online. And you'll understand in a minute why that's important. Once someone has finished Module 1, they enroll for Module 2. Module 2, which is Audio Production 101, it's 8 weeks online and 2 weeks on campus. 2 high-intensity weeks on campus, where every single minute is hands-on equipment, high intensity, putting to practice what you've learned. And in this case, you start with the 2 weeks. So you've done your 8 weeks for Module 1, you go straight into 2 weeks on campus for Module 2, and then you do your 8 weeks online. Module 3 is 4 weeks on campus and 6 weeks online. And then if you want to finish the higher certificate, which is an NQF5 qualification, then you do Module 4. And as you can see there, you've completed at the end of Module 4, which is 8 weeks online and 3 weeks on campus. And those of you looking on the left and paying attention, you'll see that's a total of 30 weeks online and 9 weeks on campus. You'll have a high certificate qualification, an NQF5 high certificate qualification, 1 level above a matric. But if you want to finish part 1 of the diploma, you don't do Module 4 and you do Module 5. And then you finish with part 1. But can you see how versatile this is? How easy it is for you to just, instead of having made the decision and now you're stuck in this one path and that's all you're doing and you're aiming 3 years ahead, etc., you can take an 11-week detour, have a qualification, and then carry on. And 2 years later, you've got another qualification, which is an NQF6 in audio technology. So the pathway to success here is varied, versatile, flexible, and you'll notice what I said earlier. When you're done with Module 1, you enroll into Module 2. So you decide when you enroll into Module 2. No one is rushing you. We obviously have a schedule where we would complete Module 1 to 5 in the space of 1 normal academic year, including Module 4 for the higher certificate students. And if you choose to take a moment, take a break, and not go straight into the next module. There might be a little bit of a wait before we do the next one, the next module 2 or the next module 3, whatever it is that's next for you. But it means that if something happens in your life or you need a bit of time, you have that time. And you can quickly take a detour, like I said here, after module 3, get a qualification, get it under your belt, and then tackle the next big thing, which is your next qualification. And those of you that never had the entrance requirements for a BSc, once you're done with the diploma, you've got access into the next qualification, which is the Bachelor of Science. So you might wonder, hang on, I don't need entrance requirements for module 1, but surely for it to be an accredited qualification, there needs to be entrance requirements. 100%, of course there does. And that kicks in at module 2. So anyone who wants to go further than module 1 after the first initial 8 weeks will have to have met our academic entrance requirements, which is visible on our website. You can go have a look there. Someone might post a link in the chat, and you would then carry on with module 2. But you know what this also does? And I was talking about the pathway, the access to higher education, the hurdle of access to higher education. Someone who never actually did a matric for whatever reason, or never met the entrance requirements, if you do module 1 and you do well, because this is something you're passionate about, if you do well, you have the opportunity to apply for recognition of prior learning. Based on your results in module 1, you could apply to the academic board and say, hey, look how well I did, look how well I coped with this content, and look how passionate I am, and here's a letter of recommendation, and the academic board looks at it and they can make a decision, even if you never met the entrance requirements earlier in your life, to allow you into module 2. And there disappears the hurdle to higher education. Now, those of you that got the academic entrance requirements, you'll cope with the content very well, and it may not be as much of an academic challenge as someone else who maybe hasn't done formal training in a very long time or never got to that level. But we've seen some incredible success stories where people are basically fueled by passion. You're passionate about music, you're passionate about technology and the entertainment industry in general. And for some people, that alone is enough. The determination and the perseverance gets them through. Even though there's some maths here and there and there's some electronics here and there, it's necessary because of the type of technology and science qualifications that we offer. But that passion can really get you through. So let's go to the next slide, because we also start, at some point, we need to talk about money. And those of you that have inquired with us in the past might look at these numbers on the right here and go, hang on, that doesn't look right. Because anyone that studied with us in 2019 or 18 or 17 or whatever will have noticed that the fees were actually significantly higher than this. So what we've done is we've calculated that the delivery of our hybrid models, there are actually opportunities for us as an institution to save a bit of money. And those savings we're passing on to you, onto the students. So our first year fees for the diploma in 2020, this year, was 79,950 Rand. And someone doing part 1 of the diploma next year, all 4 modules, module 1, 2, 3, and 5, would pay 69,800. And if you get a student loan, or you have the ability to settle more than one module at a time, and you settle all 4 of the modules, you'll get a 15% discount, which takes it down to 64,704. Those of you that have done some research will realize that there aren't really many private higher education institutions in South Africa left whose fees are below 80,000 Rand a year. I've done the research. I implore you to do the research. And what you're getting here is the same accredited qualification, the same high content, the same access to, better access to to expert lecturers and content creators. But for a chunk of it, you're sitting at home. So we can save and pass that on to you. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited about that. Higher education, private higher education is expensive. And I know that for some of you watching here, the fees that I'm showing you here are also expensive. Expense is relative. At the end of the day, you can or you can't afford it. You can or you can't make a plan. But our methodology of doing this a chunk at a time, you enroll for Module 1, you can see that Module 1 is 14,950. You finish it, you make a plan for Module 2. And slowly but surely you can achieve what you set out to achieve. The commitment isn't as daunting to begin with. The financial commitment is more manageable. You know you can do this in small chunks. But there's also savings to be had if you bite off the whole apple of part 1 of the diploma or of the high certificate. And obviously, what we're looking at here, if you look on the left-hand side of the PDF, you can see just how much content is in this. These are the 5 modules. So this would be someone that had done all 4 modules of the high certificate and then moved on to module 5, finishing off part 1 of the diploma. And there's a heck of a lot of content. So looking at this, looking at the pathways to success, looking at the hurdles that have been removed for you, I'm very excited. I'm emotionally excited about the future and about the way in which you are going to be able to engage with technology, with us as an institution. You've also seen how important it is to know about streaming and technology. I mean, there's one of the learning units here. There we go. If you look at module 4, 5 ELC COM, electronic content creation and distribution platforms. That's a brand new learning unit that we've brought in for 2021. And it goes, you know what? People stream. People need to create content. People need to understand the technology. People need to maximize and professionalize the way in which they engage with their audience. It might be your TikTok audience, it could be your YouTube audience, it could be a client. It doesn't matter. It needs to be professional, it needs to be excellent. So we address it. Right, so you're thinking, how is this practical? And I'm still at home. This is how. So you're going to buy a home study pack. This is something where you've got core equipment, which includes a laptop, a controller, sound card, and a microphone. And we've got some expert people helping you. And also, by the way, this is equipment you were going to want to buy at some point anyway. But because we're making this a requirement for our home study pack, you're going to have it available to you throughout your entire qualification with us, part 2 and 3 of the diploma as well. And the relationships that we have with the professional audio distributors and retailers means that you're going to be able to get this equipment at an incredibly reduced price. You'll see there's an email address there, homestudypack@ase.co.za. That's where you start the process, specifically inquiring about the equipment. There's an entire plethora of equipment. You can spend a lot of money, you can spend a little bit of money. There are minimum requirements that you have to adhere to in terms of the level of the spec, and mainly that's the laptop. But we've got some great relationships. We've recently closed a relationship or confirmed a relationship rather with Cloudways in association with Dell, who are going to be able to facilitate a laptop for you, including support and service at prices that you simply would not be able to get otherwise. It's just not possible. All of that equipment, that information is also with our home study pack technical guys. And I'm going to shoot back to full video quickly, just so you can see my, I'll insert descriptive word here, face. so we can carry on chatting about this. Let me check in with my guys. We've got 18 minutes left, so I want to just make sure there aren't any questions or anything that I've missed. Just quickly shoot me a WhatsApp so I can know whether I need to address something quickly. Otherwise, I want to show you the videos, the virtual open day videos that we spoke about. And then that'll give us about 5 minutes at the end just to wrap up and say goodnight. Okay, so Nitesh, I'm going to take your silence as we're all good. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share with you a virtual open day, first of our Cape Town campus. So those of you that are down in Cape Town or want to go to Cape Town, I mean, it's fairly pretty. Let's have a look. So this is, you'll hear from Keith Farquharson, Cape Town principal, as well as some of the other lecturers in Cape Town.
I'm Keith Farquharson, and welcome to the Academy of Sound Engineering. I'm principal of the Cape Town campus, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about who we are. We offer diploma and degree programs designed to provide you with the confidence and the skills that you need in the world of music and technology. Working with our highly experienced lecturers, you will build knowledge and at the same time get the confidence and attitude that you need as an audio professional. Whether that is in the field of music production, live sound, or broadcast, being radio, film, or television. Lectures are available throughout the student's journey to provide feedback and mentorship. Our recent switch to online delivery of theory content has meant that students working remotely still have access to their lecturers through regular feedback sessions, in addition to the lectures themselves. When on campus, students can enjoy focused one-on-one time in the studios with their instructors. The studios themselves all contain highly specialized equipment and the latest software platforms.
Hi, my name is Gaston Rolston and I'm one of the lecturers here at ASE Cape Town. I'm a certified Pro Tools instructor and I'll be taking you all the way from Pro Tools 101 to 210p. That means we'll be covering all the concepts required for electronic music production as well as audio post-production. ASE is well suited for music production. They cover many DAW software packages. This includes Pro Tools as well as Ableton Live. They've got many controllers for you to use, which is a great way for you to interact and work on your music creations.
Hi there, my name is Peter Paulson and I am the Senior Lecturer at ASE Cape Town, responsible for a lot of audio tech lecturing, audio technology, microphone technology, how to operate recording studios, a little bit of mixing in various formats, album mixing and movie soundtrack mixing and advert mixing. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag for me. It's great because it means that I'm not sort of stuck on one subject. I float around and I do various things. And one of the strong suits of ASE Cape Town is the strength of the lecturing team. All the guys are incredibly talented, professional, and involved currently in all aspects of the industry, from going out and actually playing gigs, involved in the making of television programs, album recording, soundtrack recording, sound design, and it is a wealth of experience that gets handed down to the students. So it's, for me, an absolute privilege to be a part of such a strong team and to be able to hand the baton down to the next generation of South African industry superstars.
In partnership with our strong connections in the industry, our approach focuses on giving students real-world experience both on and off campus. Every part of the study program is designed differently, from the academic content and workspaces to your projects and your lecture schedules. This leads to numerous opportunities for students, often before they even graduate.
Right, so that was our Cape Town campus. Such a vibey little place. I don't think they'd appreciate me saying little, though. Apologies, Keith and Peter. I love going down there. I love the vibe. It honestly, those of you that know the difference between Johannesburg and Cape Town, it may as well be another country. What the students are interested in, the styles of music they produce, absolutely everything is different. But the access to the content and the people. I mean, I didn't even mention this. We've opened up the entire world in terms of contact. I've been teaching music appreciation for 20 years alone, and this whole year I taught it with Peter Pilson, who's won all of the SAMAs. I mean, the opportunities that the students have had to have access to experts, regardless of where they are, has been incredible. So let's look at Joburg. Those of you that haven't seen Johannesburg, here's a little video, virtual open day, just a look at what happens and what's at our Johannesburg campus. Have a look. Welcome to Academy of Sound Engineering. My name is George Hattingh, and I'm one of the directors here. At the Academy of Sound Engineering, we are so passionate about the entertainment industry, and specifically the technology that makes it all happen. Here at our head campus in Johannesburg, we have facilities that are second to none. As a student, you have access to most of our facilities 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In our Academy of Sound Engineering faculty, you will have the opportunity to register for a higher certificate or a diploma in audio technology. focus on turning you into a valuable resource for the industry. That skill that the industry requires is a skill that you're going to learn here. We are very excited to be launching our new hybrid teaching and hybrid learning models. This means you get the best of both. You're here on campus, learning, getting your hands on the equipment, and learning those valuable practical skills. But at the same time, you have the freedom and space of learning from home as well. We have found that our online learning methods give our students more one-on-one time and better communication with our lecturers. And at the end of the day, that means better results.
Hi everybody, my name's Nick Matsoukas and I'm the Head of Music Law, Contracts and Business at Academy of Sound Engineering. If you want to learn how to make money out of the music industry, how the music industry works, what the royalty streams are, how to earn money, where to go and get that money and why, and if you want to understand the various copyrights, management principles and contracts and earning capacities in the music industry, come and join us at the Academy of Sound Engineering. Hope to see you there.
Hi, I'm Tim Kraft, Managing Director of Academy of Sound Engineering. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the industry, the awards you're going to win, the albums you're going to record, the movies that you're going to mix, the live shows that you're going to put on. Nothing gives me greater pleasure than seeing our Academy of Sound Engineering graduates making this industry work.
Find us on our website, www.ase.co.za, or search Academy of Sound Engineering across Facebook and Instagram. And there we are. So we have 5 minutes left in our chat. I thought I'd quickly just wrap up and give you guys some general details. If you are interested in chatting with us, communicating with us, even coming and seeing us, it is possible. You can come for a tour. It just needs to be arranged in advance so that we can follow all of the COVID guidelines, our institution's guidelines, as well as the government guidelines. At the Johannesburg campus, there's also the additional layer of security, which means you need to get into the SABC, so we need to give them fair warning as well. And what else can I say besides we are really excited to have you on board. We know that this is going to be an incredible journey. We know that you're going to take to this like a duck to water. Like I said, all we've done is catch up to you. You've been living your lives like this for a very long time, and you've been waiting for this to happen. You've been waiting for this evolution, and you've been waiting for the world to catch up with you, and it's happening. It's taken a pretty bad thing for it to happen, but the digital advantage that's been forced on us has made us more malleable, has made us listen to you, think about you more, and ask ourselves the right questions to create a product and create an experience that is ideal for someone engaging with the world today in the way that you choose to engage with it. So I'm going to look here and see if there's any more comments. I handled one of those, and unless there's anything else, DC Sunny Williamson, you current students of ours. International audience, yes, of course. the international question mark means that Module 1, I can't believe I didn't say this earlier, Module 1 can be done anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. If you've got access to the internet and you can buy this gear, you can do this and you can get on the first step of the ladder from anywhere in the world. So if you're one of our African neighboring countries and you want to, just think about it. Some of you have it's easier for you to do 8 weeks online and then come and do 2 weeks intense in South Africa and then head back to Bots or Zim or wherever you're from. We've got lots of Nigerian students. And you're sitting in the US, you're sitting in Australia. How cool is it if you can, and again, this isn't just online learning. We're not just another check the box here, fill in this multiple choice, and now you've got a thing that you can stick on Instagram or on LinkedIn. This is legitimate, practical training that has been delivered in a way that suits you. And if you want to go into banking or architecture or whatever you're going into, how cool would it be if you go for that interview and also on your CV you've got a little skills program in audio fundamentals and song creation? That right there is a starting point. That's a conversation starter. So don't miss out on this opportunity. We are ready. We are excited. We are ready for you, and we're ready for 2021. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. This video will obviously be available for you to watch again on YouTube. And we'll do this again. All the best. Have a great evening.